You know, the entry of budget smartphones in our market has compelled top tier brands like Samsung to now house devices that have low price points. Basically, you can get a smartphone from a quality brand for much less price than a flagship of the same company would cost you. And Samsung's Galaxy J series and Galaxy On series are testaments of devices of these sort. So I've been using the Samsung Galaxy On Next for around 2 weeks now, and this same phone is being sold online as Samsung Galaxy J7 Prime. So in case you want to buy either of these devices, this is the video you need to watch. But in my usage, I feel that Samsung makes these devices half-heartedly. It tries to offer a lot of compelling features in these devices, but it falls short when compared to other contenders of this budget. Am I being a bit too harsh? Well, watch on this video to know why I just said what I said. And once again, barring the name and the internal storage, everything else remains the same on Samsung Galaxy On Next and Samsung Galaxy J7 Prime. So this review is applicable to both of these devices. Now, having said that, instead of giving you a sectional review, I'd rather simply tell you what I liked and disliked in my usage of these 2 weeks. So the first thing I liked was the designing of this device. Now, Samsung in the past couple of years has ousted similar looking devices in both J and A series, and this phone looks completely new. I believe it's one of the first Samsung phones to have a full metal back, and it is a welcome change compared to the glass and plastic backs which we are used to seeing from Samsung now. It feels very good in the palm, but it does not feel like a Samsung phone. It in fact looks like a phone that a Xiaomi would make, or it looks like a Lenovo K5 Note from the back. But whatever said and done, it is a very welcome addition because metal is more durable than glass, and it surely looks more compelling than a plastic bag. Turning the phone around, however, it feels like a Samsung. It looks like a Samsung J7 or a J5 or an A5 or an A7. But it does have Gorilla Glass protection for those of you who are careless like me. And one thing in particular that I like, but I have kept it as a separate section, is the speaker of this device. Now, unlike a traditional Samsung phone that puts the speaker weirdly at the bottom, or like a yesteryear's Note 4 which had them on the back where it used to get muffled, this phone has the speaker placed at the side of the device. And I don't know, it's because of the audio tuning or is it because of the placement of the speaker, the audio output of this phone is very loud. May it be listening to music or may it be attending loudspeaker calls, the speaker works great. And that pretty much sums up the good stuff for me. And now it's time for me to tell you what I did not like about this phone. And to be very honest, these are things I've appreciated Samsung devices in the past for. Starting with the display. Samsung generally uses a Super AMOLED display panel in its flagships, mid-rangers and budget phones alike. This phone, however, has a 5.5-inch TFT IPS LCD screen, which though is Full HD, lacks the vividness, lacks the brightness, lacks the clarity of an AMOLED which we have appreciated in the past for Samsung phones. And apart from that, the biggest issue for me on this phone is, at this price point, this phone does not have an ambient light sensor. You cannot adjust brightness automatically on this one. The next one, and I'm afraid to say this, are the cameras. On paper, a 13 megapixel camera with an f1.9 aperture should be sufficient. But I'm sorry to report, it just isn't. Barring outdoors in sunlight, the phone doesn't perform well in any circumstances, may it be indoors in artificial light or in low light. Pictures lack detail and dynamic range is too bad. Coming to the front camera, even though it looks good on the spec sheet, I'm afraid it too lacks the quality. So if you're a selfie enthusiast like me, this phone is for sure not for you. Overall, in retrospect, the cameras are lackluster. And one more thing that was a bit average for me is the battery life. In terms of spec sheet, a 3300 mAh of cell should be sufficient for at least a day and a half's usage, but in reality, it barely is. When the phone is left on idle, the draining is too high, possibly because it does not support the doze feature of the Marshmallow. Secondly, if 4G is connected, I've seen the phone go down to at least 10 to 20% in 30 minutes to 45 minutes. It's that high. One more thing that I would like to mention is that not having an AMOLED does compromise on the battery life. I used to get around 3 hours of screen on time with this smartphone. Had it been an AMOLED, the screen on time might have gone up to 4 hours because it's more power efficient. Yet, battery is not necessarily bad. If you turn the location settings on periodically, if you turn 4G off when you do not need it, and with 2 power saving modes inbuilt into the software, you still can get a day's battery life easily with some optimization on your part. And one thing that is very surprising to me is that company did not claim that this phone has fast charging. Yet, when I connected my Samsung Galaxy S7's fast charger to this phone, because I like to experiment stuff, I used to get this phone up and ready from 6% to 100% in 1 hour and 10 minutes, and that is pretty fast. And one thing I did not touch upon up till this point is the performance. Performance is decent if you don't compare it with its competitors. You get an Exynos 7 Octa 7870 CPU on this smartphone, which handles routine tasks with absolute ease. Coming to gaming, it surely can play the games, but the quality is very bad. The graphics are choppy and the performance is very sluggish. Talking about software, it looks the same as it would be on a Samsung Galaxy S7. However, it's not, it's a different product. You do get features like a theme store and a whole office suite pre-installed on this one, yet it does not have some features that I would have appreciated otherwise, like dual windows or pop-up widgets, which make the whole large screen phone experience a bit more productive. Talking about extra features, you do get on this phone dual SIM slots with 4G and VoLTE. You get a separate micro SD card slot, but the phone skips on some important issues like a gyroscope. No gyroscope equals no VR. And that pretty much sums up my review. Now let me seal it all with my verdict. To be very honest, I won't recommend this phone personally to any friend of mine. And that is not because it's a bad phone. It's because there are better phones available in the market for you to buy. I know phones that cost you around 10,000 rupees and give you better performance and better cameras than this one. Even Samsung's own Galaxy On 8 gives you a Super AMOLED Full HD display, and it is priced below than this phone. So at 18,000 rupees, Samsung Galaxy On Next and the J7 Prime feel a bit below par to me. In fact, to a hardcore Samsung fan, I would recommend going for a Samsung Galaxy A5 instead for 20,000 rupees. The phone does have 1 GB less of RAM than this, but it gives you some better features, better software, way better cameras. So those are my views on Samsung Galaxy On Next, but I would love to hear what your views are. Post them all in the comment box below. Give this video a thumbs up if you think my review was honest. Give it a thumbs down if you think I was a bit too harsh on Samsung. Whatever you do subscribe to 91mobiles.com and do come back to check more videos of mine. My name is Sid. Ciao.